Batman Arkham Origins is a prequel game that was developed by WB Montreal and takes place 2 years into the Dark Knight's crime-fighting career. When a bounty is placed on Batman for one night, he must fight against several assassins, corrupt cops, and rising career criminals in his quest to find Black Mask and put an end to his schemes. However, Batman will soon discover that someone more sinister is behind these events that will not only test his fortitude, but will shape him into the hero he'll become. In this video, I've managed to put together as many Easter eggs, references, and any other points of interest that I could find. And if you do enjoy this video, then subscribe, that way you can stay up to date on all future videos I put up. Now it's time to hunt down Black Mask. Starting out in Blackgate Prison, there are missable interactions that can happen if you walk towards some of the occupied cells. By doing so, Batman will either provoke or frighten some of the prisoners, including Vicky Vale.
Oh crap, it's him! The Bat!
He can't get to us in here, right?
Now there's someone I got a score to settle with. The Bat!
Please, we don't want any trouble.
In one of the guard rooms, there's a clipboard showing a list of visitors' names. Jonathan Crane, aka Scarecrow, seems to have visited Blackgate on several occasions leading up to the night of the riots, and even suggests that he's still inside the facility based on the missing checkout time. In Calendar Man's cell, you can see his murderous plots carved into the wall that will eventually come to fruition after his escape. The details of these events can be heard by him in Arkham City when Batman visits his cell on that particular holiday, the murder of an entire family on Thanksgiving, fishing on Father's Day using pieces of his dad as bait. The image of a heart next to the phrase "day with her" could either mean the killing of a woman on Valentine's Day or the death of his mum on Mother's Day when he cut out her heart. During celebrations, Julian walks into a ballroom and burns everyone alive, and hangs Judge Harkness one Christmas Eve on the same holiday that he was sentenced to die.
Cops found him later, hanging from the elaborate light display of his own roof. I call that murder my Christmas special.
During the fight against Killer Croc, he will mock Batman if the player tries to either punch him or uses a smoke pellet.
Smoked meat. You can't mask your scent. Did that hurt your fist? Ow.
During the cutscene revealing the 8 assassins, by pausing on a particular character profile, you can see the names of their associates. William Randolph Wintergreen is a former SAS soldier turned butler and mentor to Slade Wilson in a similar role akin to Alfred. David Kane is a member of the League of Assassins and father of Shiva's child, Cassandra Kane. Richard Dragon is one of the best martial artists in the world, who trained many of the world's greatest fighters including Batman. Nisa is the first daughter of Ra's al Ghul and heir to the League of Assassins. Trog, Bird and Zombie escaped their hellish prison with Bane and are fiercely loyal to him. Bird even appears in the game in a side mission. In the Batcave are 2 pinboards with a bunch of case notes and newspaper clippings that build on the Batman lore. The first case shows crime boss Sal Maroni, who's awaiting trial, and with the newspapers revealing Harvey Dent's election as DA, will all lead to the courtroom incident where Maroni throws acid into Dent's face, turning him into Two-Face. The second case appears to be ongoing, as Batman suspects that there's more than one Red Hood, and is unaware that one of these criminals will eventually become his arch-nemesis, the Joker. Amongst Julian Day's case notes is a quote from a newspaper named after the game's executive producer, Ames Kirshen. On the other pinboard, there's a newspaper showing Daggett Industries, which refers to Roland Daggett, who's a corrupt businessman first appearing in the animated series. Exploring the Batcave, you can find not only the Batmobile under construction, but in his workshop is an unfinished line launcher that will be utilised in the other Arkham games. There are 2 postcards sent by Andrea Beaumont, who first appeared in the animated movie Mask of the Phantasm and was the love interest of Bruce Wayne, before it's revealed that she herself is the main antagonist. The postcards were sent from Rome and Paris, and are 2 of many locations that she's been travelling to in search of her father. Besides using the cryptographic sequencer to unlock doors, you can listen in on various broadcasts. On GC Radio News, the Blackfire shelter mentioned is named after the villain Deacon Blackfire, who will eventually make his appearance in a side mission in Arkham Knight.
The residents of the former Blackfire shelter for the homeless were in for a holiday treat this afternoon when they found piles of shoeboxes individually gift-wrapped under their tree in the shelter lobby.
Throughout Gotham, and featured more prominently in the Bowery, are various posters referencing both villains and allies to Batman. The Funny Faces poster names the performer as Basil Karlo, who will in time become Clayface. A familiar poster showing Solomon Grundy next to the casino is the same promotion found in the subway tunnels of Arkham City. On the nearby wall of Gotham Cinema, one advertisement shows Gotham Zoo is being presented by Thomas Blake, who is the villain Catman. Haley's Circus reveals the Flying Graysons show before their tragic deaths that led to Bruce adopting their son. And another poster shows the heroine and magician Zatanna, who is often involved in the more supernatural elements of DC lore. Riley's Old Irish Pub, that can be found in 2 locations in Gotham North, is owned by Sean Riley, who's a small-time crime boss. His daughter Peyton Riley suffers from dissociative identity disorder and eventually becomes the second ventriloquist. There are several billboards, as well as a shipping container, that show Ferris Aircraft, which is an aviation company that is based outside of Coast City, home of Hal Jordan, who is one of the Green Lanterns. Blaze Comics has a few shops, as well as a number of trucks around the city, and is a fictional comic book publisher that writes stories around superheroes like Booster Gold. Outside of Catwoman's apartment in Park Row, you can find on a closer look at the wall below her window claw marks, as if Selina Kyle is marking her territory. During the case file investigation in the alley behind the Monarch Theatre, when using the playback feature to reconstruct the event, there's a brief moment when Bruce Wayne's parents appear within the chalk outline. The Dixon Docks building in the amusement mile is a reference to Batman comic writer Chuck Dixon. There are many other businesses from DC comic lore that can be found around Gotham City. Amatech is a military-industrial company that sells weapons to criminal organizations and are a recurring enemy to the superhero Steel. The Hell's Gate disposal service may be based on one of the smaller boroughs of Metropolis that shares its name. Calbrow Breweries and Big Belly Burger are both LexCorp subsidiaries. And Cale Anderson Pharmaceuticals co-founder Veronica Cale is a recurring enemy of Wonder Woman. Throughout the game, you can find WB Montreal developers' names. They appear as actors on film posters. On the final offer is Penguin's Thugs. On food cans. Workers inside of Black Mask's drugs lab. and even cops in the GCPD. In Diamond District, there's a large sign on a building that says Hamilton Hill. This is named after Gotham's corrupt mayor, whose administration was controlled by various crime bosses, such as Rupert Thorne. In the same district, there are several advertisements found near the Gotham City Daily building. A particular one of interest is a self-help seminar that is led by Hugo Strange, who will later become Warden of Arkham City. Some buildings are not only based on DC lore, but are parodies of real-life businesses. The most obvious one to mention is Soda Cola, being based on Coca-Cola. Stacy's store may be based on Macy's store. There are 2 billboards in New Gotham that show names of other cities that members of the Justice League are based in. Apart from Metropolis and Coast City, already mentioned, Central City is the home of the Flash. Jonathan Crane has another name appearance on board the final offer. In the main gun shop next to the gate is a research ad in which Crane is looking for volunteers to test out a new drug. Given his sinister background, one can only guess that it might be some kind of fear-inducing pill. Further into the ship, some of Penguin's thugs mention a man named Lefty, which is a reference to Lefty Knox, one of the undercover identities used by Bruce Wayne.
What, you serious? I thought he was like a urban Mick.
Oh, he's real enough. Just ask Mickey.
Mickey?
You know, Lefty.
Lefty? Oh, Lefty.
In the Electrocutioner encounter, it only takes a single hit on him to win the battle, but before ending it, you can find out how much of an idiot he really is, as he'll try to avoid any confrontation with Batman when you walk too close to him. You can even turn your attention to the radio on the cryptographic sequencer while he just stands in the background making empty threats. On the boiler deck, it appears the Penguin has gotten hold of a container belonging to Queen Industries, which is owned by Oliver Queen, who is another crime-fighting vigilante called the Green Arrow. In the foyer, there's a scale model of the final offer on display. The accompanying dialogue heard after pushing the red button reveals that the ship was originally called the Olivia B. Meredith, referencing Oliver Burgess Meredith, the actor who played the Penguin in the 1960s TV series. In the same room, you can find several posters based on real-life theatre plays. On the drapery at the back of the theatre's stage, an obscure Batman villain makes an appearance. On a closer look, you'll see a figure wearing a sinister-looking diving suit. This is King Kraken, a character created by Grant Morrison. Returning later to the ship will allow you to enter Penguin's office, and there are a few things of interest you can find. Evidence of his black market activities can be seen with these weapon crates that are ready to be shipped out to Bane, as well as a VIP order on the wall showing Penguin's weapon sales to Deadshot, Bane and Deathstroke. Next to this paper is a hijack plan of 3 different locations, a raid at an Amatech warehouse, an attack of a LexCorp truck convoy on Gotham Bridge, and stealing something belonging to Queen Industries in an airport hangar. The fights on the boiler deck appear to be an actual organised tournament, as Penguin has made an official championship belt. His family picture is the same one found in the museum in Arkham City. And there's a blueprint for his future Iceberg Lounge. This structure is based on the New 52 version of the comics. In Black Mask's office within the steel mill, there are 3 files showing the names of rejected assassins. Cheshire is the mercenary who uses a wide variety of poisons and is an enemy of the Titans. David Kane's name appears again, as he's one of the world's best assassins, who's paid to kill some of the most famous and powerful people in the world. And Black Spider is another assassin who's an enemy of Batman. There are a couple of references to the Court of Owls, which is a secret society of the most wealthiest and influential people of Gotham City. A book that mentions them by name can be found in the Coast Guard room within the Pioneer Bridge. And during the cutscene on the roof of the hotel, Vicky Vale's helicopter passes by 2 statues based on the Talons, who are assassins that serve the interests of the court. A character from the first Arkham game is seen by name in Lacey Towers. One of the apartment's front doors reveals the name Penelope Young, who will go on to create the Titan formula that becomes one of the major plot points in the series. In Joker's funhouse within the hotel, he makes a reference to an event from the one-shot graphic novel, The Killing Joke.
Where did I get all of this, you ask? Well, I got a great deal on an out-of-service amusement park. Oh, you should have seen the look on the real estate agent's face when we shook hands on the deal.
In the GCPD SWAT manager's office, there's a chalkboard mapping out the various criminal organisations, with a more detailed one showing the Falcone family on a board nearby. These appear to be a homage to the ones seen in the graphic novel The Long Halloween, and the Hangman game is a reference to the killer from the Long Halloween sequel, Dark Victory, where the Hangman killer leaves clues to this game on the bodies of the murdered police officers. Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, is even named as a possible daughter to Carmine Falcone. On one of the doors is a reference to Crispus Allen, a detective in the Special Crimes Unit who is partnered with Renee Montoya. In Gordon's office, there's a few things of interest to find. A picture of his first wife Barbara can be seen on the desk. Also nearby is a mug that reads on the side, "World's Greatest Dad," which is a reference to Frank Miller's Batman Year One, in which he had a similar mug. And on the wall, there's a university diploma that reveals Gordon's master's degrees in criminology with his full name shown. There's a secret message left behind by Enigma that can be read on some of the screens in both the telecom and server rooms. It looks like a series of random numbers and letters, but these are actually hexadecimal characters that can be converted into text. The message reads, "Joining the GCPD was the easiest thing I ever did. I will find out all of their dirty little secrets. By the time they know what I know, it will be too late. This is only the beginning." Inside of a damaged locker, you can find a familiar framed photo. Aaron Cash's family picture has been in the previous 2 games, and appears again in Arkham Knight. All around the GCPD, you can find many things that reflect the police's immorality. By looking at some of the papers on the typewriters, they read like gang warnings, threatening to destroy people's places of business and harming their families, while other cops appear to be in too deep with criminals. One officer has a photo of his loving family, next to a picture of him in an extramarital affair with a younger woman. Some even show their hatred for Captain Gordon. And there's a bunch of photos showing the mayor of Gotham in his nightly parties that the police have recovered to use as a possible future blackmail. In the same office with the mayor's incriminating photos, there's a name spelled out on a nearby desk: Jefferson Skeevers, who's a small-time drug dealer, was created by Frank Miller for the story Batman Year One. After gaining access into Enigma's secret room, you can see on the pinboard his thoughts on who Batman might be. The magazine cover, showing a supposedly drunk Bruce Wayne, has a bat drawing with a question mark over it, and Harvey Dent is one of those suspected of being the costumed vigilante, like in the comic lore. During the fight with the mind-controlled thugs in Mad Hatter's side mission, instead of bats flying away to denote the defeat of an enemy, these are playing cards instead that often fly toward the screen. When paused, you may be able to see that the Joker cards are actually the Clown Prince of Crime himself. When trying to recapture one of the escaped Blackgate prisoners in the Bowery, he'll mention Captain Boomerang, who's one of the villains of The Flash.
What did you expect, busting out of Blackgate like that? No, man, it's not the cops. It's, well, spit it out. It's some guy with a boomerang. You mean Batman? That's not a boomerang. It's a batarang, I guess.
No, definitely not the Bat. Dressed totally different. Calls himself Captain and... Look, can we finish this conversation somewhere else? Somewhere safe?
Outside of the club My Alibi, there are two ravens near the entrance that on a closer view appear to have glowing green eyes. These may be linked to the character Bird, one of Bane's lieutenants who sometimes uses his flying pets for particular missions. All around the inside of the club, there are posters that show a list of names that are based on real-life burlesque dancers. In the changing room, you can find on one of the tables next to a top hat a pair of orange gloves and a respirator. These belong to the villain Ratcatcher, and these items were last seen in Arkham Asylum. Near the final offer, some of Penguin's thugs are talking about his infamous umbrellas, a probable reference to the movie Batman Returns.
Maybe it's got like a hidden gun inside it.
Or a sword.
What if it's got a poison tip?
That would be sweet. He'd poke someone and then BAM! They fall over, dead.
Wait, I got it. What if... Yeah? What if when it opens, it's got a spiral on it, and then he spins it, right? And it hypnotizes you.
Yeah?
In one of the many random discussions heard between the thugs around the city, one person in particular is mentioned.
Oh, it'll be worth it. Trust me. Who's the mark? Some guy named Devlin. He's loaded, like Bruce Wayne loaded.
The man they are talking about is the billionaire J. Devlin Davenport, who's a socialite and a friendly rival to Bruce Wayne. There are some more references to Batman Year One that can be heard in Commissioner Loeb's extortion files. They allude to Detective Arnold Flass attacking his ex-partner Jim Gordon in order to put the captain in his place. Failing that, they moved on to blackmail when Gordon's extramarital affair with Detective Sarah Essen was discovered.
Control? It will be easier to send my men to beat some sense into him.
Like Detective Flass, that approach has already failed. Find a way to put a collar on the man, and it'll be that much easier to tighten the leash.
Now, men like Gordon have a weakness for a certain type of woman. They call it the Lancelot syndrome or some such crap.
What are we talking about here? You want me to set up a honeypot?
On the return to Blackgate Prison, you can overhear some of the escaped prisoners talking about getting a drink at O'Kane's. This is a reference to Batman co-creator Bob Kane.
Man, I can't wait. I'm going straight to O'Kane's, having a pint.
What's the bid for you, man?
After the hostage rescue in the Nexus, you can find a small detail about Harleen if you use detective vision on her. Unlike the nervous conditions of the other guards, looking at Harleen, you will find her condition is calm. This may be a clue that Harleen has been turned. There are a few cameos at the end of the game. If you stay through the credits, you can hear a brief discussion between Quincy Sharp and Jack Ryder on a talk show. These two characters feature heavily throughout the Arkham series.
It's an interesting point, Hank, but what I'm wondering is what we'll do next. No, it's not an interesting point. It's just plain wrong. They're both wrong. This isn't about the police or the Batman. All of tonight's tragedies would have been avoided if Gotham had a proper treatment facility for its top echelon offenders.
And in the post-credit cutscene, Amanda Waller appears in Blackgate to recruit Slade Wilson into the Suicide Squad, which is the one and only time she appears in any of the 4 games. There is something you can do to the game in both Arkham City and Origins. By holding the left and right trigger buttons while rotating the left and right sticks in their respective directions, you'll activate Big Head mode for Batman and all other NPCs. Now this last one is a strange and disturbing entry. An unofficial side mission you can do is to search across the city for Pinckney commemorative plaques. By scanning them, you'll learn more about his history with Henry Cobblepot and Solomon Wayne in the 1800s. This will eventually give you access to Pinckney's tomb to complete the mission, but there's an odd thing you can find off to one side that offers no explanation as to what it's doing there in the first place, or why it looks like the way it does. It's a baby doll that appears to be glowing red and yellow, lying in a basket with a skull, with one of its eyes gouged out. Perhaps the developers were hoping to continue Pinckney's story in a future game that never happened. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video and I hope you enjoyed it. I did leave out a few things because I've already mentioned them in my previous video and I wanted to avoid repeating myself. So if you want to watch my Arkham City Easter eggs and references video, I'll leave the link to it at the end of this one, so you can check it out. Up next will be Arkham Knight, so if you haven't yet and you want to see more content like this, then subscribe, that way you can stay up to date on all future videos I put up. And as always, thanks to all of you who have subscribed and are helping to make this channel grow. So until the next video, bye everyone.